Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Jennifer. If you are new around here, I have been a licensed esthetician and a makeup artist for over 20 years now, and I love talking about beauty, but coming at it from a simple vantage point. Simple skincare routines, simple makeup routines, simple beauty hacks. I like to throw in a little bit of life and faith along the way. If that sounds good, you are in the right place. And I am also the author of an online, comprehensive, yet super easy to understand skincare program called Nude Skin. And over the years, I've come to just realize that so many women were not taught basic skincare fundamentals. Pretty much all of us have learned about our skin through advertising, through marketing, through the beauty companies themselves. And now in today's explosion of social media, where it's all about influencer advertising, so many of us are getting our information about how to take care of our skin from influencers, and not necessarily the best place where we should be learning about our skin. My program teaches you everything that you need to know. I'm into simple and sustainable ways of taking care of your skin. I am all about gentle, and I'm all about as keeping things as simple as possible. Because once you know how your skin actually works and about how most of the products out there are just hype and packaging, you're going to make better decisions about what to buy and how to actually take care of your skin. And you're going to cut down on all of the extra impulse buys and just buying and using things that just are hype and don't really do anything anyway. You'll actually spend money on things that aren't hype that will really make a difference in the way your skin looks and feels. With Nude Skin, you find out what you really never really knew. Maybe you were never really taught, or maybe you knew these things, but you just forgot. And once you learn this stuff, you almost can never unlearn it. And you move forward and you just make better buying decisions. You're not wasting money and you're treating your skin more simply and more gently, and you find it looks better than ever before. So if that sounds good and you are vibing with the whole simple is better, let's take care of ourselves in a more simplistic way vibe, check out all the information in the description of this video or in the podcast episode. I go into way more detail about what Nude Skin is all about, all the videos you're going to get, all the printable PDFs, all of the answers to all of the questions, whether you are oily, dry, dehydrated, have wrinkles, have acne, or all of the above. Nude Skin is going to teach you how to take care of your skin in a way that empowers you and puts you in control of your skincare routine like never before. Okay, so let's get to the topic at hand. Today, we're going to be talking about how to maintain the skin on our hands and to keep our hands looking soft, less rough, and less dry. Especially as we get older, the skin on the back of our hands thins out and gets more and more sensitive. For me, I want to avoid old lady hand syndrome for as long as I can. I'm not about anti-aging. I don't really like talking about anti-aging so much as I like to talk about skin health. And so many of us just have really sensitive skin on the back of our hand. In the post-pandemic area, the whole idea about people wanting to keep their hands as germ-free as possible to prevent disease transmission or to just to be more hygienic, that idea has obviously exploded in the past years. And while that is a good thing, I do find that so many of us are washing our hands on the daily with products that are just way too harsh for our skin. And as a result, what's happening? Our skin is getting drier, it's getting more rough looking, it's getting more textured. And on the extreme of that spectrum, a lot of us really suffer from dry, itchy, red hands. And it's every time you go to wash your hands, it's water torture. And no amount of lotion seems to be correcting this problem. So that's what I want to dig into today. It's just something super simple that you could tweak in your hand washing routine that's going to make a difference. Again, I don't want to offend anyone by saying old lady hands. I turned 50 this year. I probably have old lady hands already, but my whole thing is I want to keep my hands as soft and healthy looking as possible for as long as I can. And if you're suffering from dry, red, itchy hands from hand washing, it's super simple to really just stop using the wrong products to wash your hands on the daily to prevent all of that. And what I want to propose is that what you're using at home every day to wash your hands with, you need to switch it out. You need to stop using what I know you're probably using and switch to something that is a lot simpler and that is a lot more gentle. Instead of using liquid or foaming hand soaps, what you need to start getting your hands on is good old-fashioned natural soaps. I'm talking like homemade soaps, like the type of soaps that your great-grandmother probably used when she washed her hands. These types of soaps are completely easy to find whether you're in, say, the natural section of your store or online. Soaps that have ingredients in them that when you're reading it, you can actually pronounce them and understand what they are. These old-fashioned natural bars of soap are superior to liquid and foaming hand soaps at every turn. And what I want you to do is start buying those products and having them at every sink in your house. Good old-fashioned natural soap is going to clean your hands. It's going to keep you hygienic and germ-free. And it's going to do everything you're already doing with the liquid and the foaming hand soaps, but it's going to do it better. It's really that simple. Good old-fashioned natural soap, when you use that to wash your hands daily at home, it's going to go such a long way in keeping your hands softer and less dry. Now, I want to be really clear. I am talking about homemade, old-fashioned natural soaps. I'm not talking about the type of mass-produced soaps that you can buy in grocery stores and places like Walmart with all the name brands that we're familiar with, say Dial or Ivory or Dove. No, I'm talking about old-fashioned, homemade, natural soaps that have natural ingredients that you can pronounce that do not have synthetic detergent ingredients that are made in a lab. So you cannot just go to the store and buy a bar of Dove and think that you're washing with a bar of soap and that's better than, say, a pump of liquid soap next to your sink and that you're going to have softer hands. No, because I'm going to talk about something that you might not know, but I find interesting, and I'm an esthetician, I'm a nerd, and I find this type of stuff interesting, but it's still something that you need to know. And that is the difference between an actual soap product and something called a bar. There's actually a difference, and the FDA actually has a legal description of what a soap product is. So, for example, something like an Ivory or a Dove cannot call itself a soap. You'll notice on their labels, they always call it a bar, but it's technically not a soap. And I have this definition here off camera that I'm reading to you. And to meet the definition of soap, according to FDA regulations, a soap has to be composed mainly of alkali salts of fatty acids. And basically, it's the material that you get when you apply these naturally occurring fats or oils with these alkali salts, something like, say, a lye. And further in the definition, these alkali salts of fatty acids must be the only material that will aid in that product's cleansing action. If there's anything in addition to that, if there is a synthetic detergent added to the product, something that's made in a lab, technically cannot be classified as a natural soap product. So a synthetic detergent-based bar like an Ivory or a Dove is not the same as a natural homemade actual soap. And if you are able to find a good natural homemade kind of old-fashioned soap recipe that has a really good pH that is similar to the pH of our own skin, which is about 5.5, you are going to find that it's going to cleanse your skin, but it's not going to strip it and it's not going to leave it dry, rough, and flaky. Homemade natural soaps are made with ingredients that are found in nature, like plant-based oils or milks. Whereas detergents that are made in the synthetic soaps that are mass-produced and super popular everywhere nowadays, it actually started in World War I when naturally occurring fats that were used to make natural soaps were getting more scarce and less supply. They had to come up with synthetic alternatives. So that's when you have to start checking labels. When you want to move from a synthetic-based detergent bar to a more homemade, natural, old-fashioned soap recipe that's not going to dry your hands out as much, you have to start looking at labels. If you are looking at a label and you can't pronounce most of the ingredients on it, that is usually a huge indication that the ingredients in that soap bar are synthetic and they were made in a lab. So whether it's a synthetic detergent-based bar or it's a liquid or foaming hand soaps, the ones that are so popular, that have all the wonderful scents, and the labels claim to be gentle and non-drying and skin softening, more than likely they still contain synthetic detergent-based ingredients. And these ingredients will dry out your hands. They're fantastic for removing germs and bacteria from the skin, but they're also stripping the natural oils from the skin on our hands, and that's what's contributing to that rough dryness. So the main ingredients you really want to look out for are the sodium lauryl sulfates and all of their derivatives. For example, I'm going to show you the ingredients for a popular mass-produced synthetic soap product versus something that is a more natural, old-fashioned homemade soap recipe. And the differences are extremely clear. In the synthetic mass-produced version, there's so many ingredients you can't even pronounce, whereas in the homemade old-fashioned soap recipes, you can pronounce it. You can identify the ingredient. These liquid and foaming hand soaps, they are the culprit in producing rough, dry hands. And specifically, if it says antibacterial on the label and you are suffering from dry hands, that is a huge no. You need to stay away. And more than that, there is actually no scientific evidence that proves that a soap that says that it's antibacterial is any more effective from removing germs and bacteria from the surface of your skin than even, say, a good old-fashioned soap bar. In fact, a lot of these soaps that say antibacterial, whether they're a bar or a liquid or a foam, they're notorious for stripping out the oils in our skin. And more often than not, they disrupt the natural protective flora, which is present in the skin on our hands. And the flora is a mixture of skin-friendly bacteria that actually protects and nourishes our hands. And it keeps our skin barrier healthy so that our hands don't dry out. So what should you be looking for? Again, ingredients that look familiar to you, ingredients that you can pronounce, like organic coconut oil, organic jojoba oil, olive oil, almond oil. It may or may not have fragrance depending on your sensitivities, and just salts. These ingredients, when blended together, that's what produces these wonderful natural soaps. Personally, I look for unscented natural soap varieties, but if you're not particularly sensitive, you maybe can handle a soap that has a natural fragrance to it. It's usually fine. I love the Shea Moisture brand. I also love the Dr. Bronner Basic Unscented Baby Soap. That one's fantastic. If you're unsure, just look at the label. If the label has ingredients that you can pronounce, it doesn't have a lot of like weird, long-winded ingredients, you know you're on the right track. You can even Google natural handmade soap and you will be inundated with so many different companies and so many different options. And that is one thing that you can do at home today to start preserving the moisture in your hands and keeping your hands looking soft and not looking rough and dry. So another thing you want to keep in mind is that a lot of these natural handmade soaps, they are going to be a little bit more expensive than these mass-produced soaps that we're used to seeing in the grocery stores. However, they can last a lot longer, especially if you keep the soap dry in between hand washing. So I would recommend investing in a really good soap dish, something that's going to allow the soap to air out and dry in between hand washings. Another tip I'm going to give you is that it is perfectly acceptable to wash your hands in cool or lukewarm water. Whoever told you during the pandemic that you had to wash your hands in hot water to kill germs was completely ill-informed. The temperature of the water has absolutely nothing to do with how effective your hand washing session is in removing germs. What is removing the germs and bacteria from the surface of your skin? The mechanical motion of you scrubbing your hands coupled with the water and the lather of the soap. And then the germs and bacteria are washing down the drain. That is what is actually cleaning your hands and keeping them germ-free. So it's that friction from the mechanical scrubbing. And I also want to reiterate, you are not a doctor going into surgery, okay? If you're in a hospital type setting where things have to be sterile, these doctors are using like hardcore antimicrobial liquid soaps that completely strip everything from the surface of the skin, the germs, the bacteria, and any natural oils that are present, because they're preparing for surgery and they absolutely cannot spread germs and disease. Whereas everyday home hand washing, what you're doing is just maintaining basic hygiene and removing germs and bacteria from the skin. And just normal hand washing at home with a bar of soap, if you're scrubbing for at least a good 30 seconds, the water and the lather of that soap and that friction of rubbing your hands together, that's what's going to remove the germs. You're going to remove 99% of the germs and be absolutely fine. Yet you're not going to strip the oils in the skin on your hands and it's just going to be a win. So remember, the water does not have to be, I'm going into surgery, need steam, hot water to remove germs. That is a myth. That is just completely unnecessary. It could be cool or it could be lukewarm. As long as you are gently scrubbing for at least a good 30 seconds, you're gold. Also remember to pat your hands dry. Don't tug at the skin on your hands. The skin on our hands is thin and delicate. Gently pat your hands dry with a towel. Same thing that I would tell a client with their face. You're not going to get a towel and tug at your face with a towel. Same thing with your hands. Just gently pat your hand dry. And if you have a bathroom in your house that has a lot of high traffic, or a lot of people running through there, or you've got littles, just make sure that you're changing out that hand towel at least once a day, maybe twice a day, depending on how many people are using it, and you'll be fine. I would also recommend keeping a tube of hand cream right next to the sink to use immediately after you pat your hands dry with a clean towel. One of my favorites is the Neutrogena Norwegian hand cream. That one is fantastic. Another one that I really love is by Curel. I discovered this one about 2 years ago. I really love it. It's very moisturizing and hydrating. It keeps my hands soft in between washings, but it's not overly greasy, which is really nice. I have one beside every sink in my house and also in my purse, especially when I'm out in public and I'm in a restroom that doesn't have a gentle homemade soap and I'm forced to use, say, a liquid or foaming hand soap. This is fantastic for use after that. Now, obviously, when you're out and about in the wild in a public restroom, you can't control what type of soap they have in the bathroom. 10 times out of 10, they're going to have a liquid or a foaming soap that's probably a little harsh on the skin. Use it. You have no other choice, but that's why it's important to maybe keep something like this with you so that you can moisturize your skin after and just deter the negative drying effects of that soap. As far as hand sanitizers go, I know that they're super popular. I know everyone has it in their purse, pocket, or in their car. And hand sanitizers are great when that is the only thing that you have access to. I would say, obviously, the best thing is to always, the majority of the time you're washing your hands using good non-drying old-fashioned soap. Obviously, if you're out and about, washing your hands in a restroom is better than using an antibacterial hand gel. Antibacterial hand gels usually are 60% and above, just plain alcohol. Alcohol is extremely drying to the skin, and I just wouldn't go there. Use it if you absolutely have to. But using them every day on the daily, multiple times a day, if you have super dry hands and that's what you're doing, soap and water is superior to that in every way, in every instance. Again, only use hand sanitizer when you don't have access to a sink. And actually, studies have shown that hand sanitizer is less effective than good old-fashioned no bells and whistles bar soap. And another thing I want to quickly address is I know there are people out there that don't like bar soaps because they feel like they're petri dishes for germs, and they think that having a bottle of a liquid or a foaming hand soap by the sink is just far superior because it's, more clean and it's not as germy. That is a complete and total myth. Again, when you are washing your hands and you are scrubbing your hands, working up a lather, putting water on, the germs and the bacteria are being washed away by the water. Just keep the bar soap aired out in between hand washings. You will be absolutely fine. It's not the foam that's cleaning our skin. It's the mechanical scrubbing that's actually doing it. So why not use a soap that is an actual gentle alternative to a synthetic detergent-based hand soap that's just drying our skin out? We need to keep this as absolutely simple as possible. Yeah, go to the natural beauty section of your store and pick up a $5 bar of a goat milk soap, say that has ingredients that you can pronounce. But I guarantee you that soap is going to last 10 times longer than something you would buy at Bath and Body Works that smells like a pumpkin latte. Yeah, it smells great, but what is it doing? It is completely drying out and making your hands rough. You don't want that. Let's just keep this absolutely simple. And I guarantee you, once you start keeping stuff super simple, you're going to actually enjoy the simplicity of it. A regular piece of soap is also so much better for the environment. There's not all the waste of the plastic bottles. Simple soap is so much better than all of these liquid and foaming hand soap bottles that we are buying. We're being duped into thinking that we have to buy these things and that it's better than good old-fashioned soap. It's actually not. Again, experiment. There are so many wonderful old-fashioned soaps out there on the market that have 5 or 6 ingredients, all of which you can understand and pronounce. There's so many scents, there's so many fragrances. A lot of them have all natural milks added to them, like goat milk and honey and oat and different things that hydrate and nurture the skin. You just have to experiment and find what works for you. Some people can tolerate a natural fragrance. There's a lot of soaps that have natural essential oils in them. Some people love that and they're fine with it. I personally prefer unscented soap. You do whatever smells good and feels good to you. Another thing you can do to keep the skin on your hands as soft and less rough looking as possible is just to remember that whatever you're doing with your skin at night in your daytime and nighttime skincare routine, you can take those products and apply them to your hands as well. So if you're using at night, say a really nice hydrating serum, why not take a little bit and put it on the back of your hands as well? Put a nice face cream that you're using at night, dab a little bit on the back of your hands, and then go ahead and seal with something like a thicker hand cream. We really tend to neglect the skin on our hands. Don't forget that when you are applying your SPF on your face and on your neck, back of your hands as well. Keep a hand SPF in your purse and apply it on the backs of your hands before you go driving anywhere. Little things like this are really going to go a long way in keeping the skin on our hands softer and healthier for longer. So I know this one kind of seems super basic, seems super elementary, but so many of us were washing our hands so much and the hands get dry and really rough. And the biggest culprit to why this is happening is not the fact that you're washing your hands, but that you're washing your hands with the wrong thing. If you can wash your hands with something that is going to remove the germs, remove the bacteria, but treat the skin more gently and preserve the natural oils in the skin on our hands, it's going to go such a long way. So I hope that this video was helpful for you. I hope that it got you thinking that you need to invest in just a plain old-fashioned handmade soap and start using that at home for 80% of the time that you're washing your hands. Again, you can't control a public restroom, but you can control what you're doing and what you're using at home. That's the majority of the time when we're washing our hands, right? So let's just keep it gentle. Let's keep it simple. Leave a comment down below. Let me know if you even knew the difference between, say, a synthetic detergent bar and an actual soap product. Did you even know that the FDA differentiates between the two? That something like, say, an Ivory soap is technically not a soap. I want you to do this. I want you to go out and buy a natural homemade soap, something that has ingredients that you can pronounce. Start washing your hands with it for a week or two and see if that doesn't make a huge difference with how much more softer and less rough looking your hands can be. Thanks for watching, share, and subscribe. I will be back with more super simple beauty advice. I'll see you later. Bye.